Hello everyone, and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're going to be doing our weekly news roundup, focused around everything that has happened this week in the ARPG universe. We'll dabble a little bit in CRPG, we'll talk about new tech, and even a little mobile MMO. As always, I will share my thoughts. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to support smaller channels. Alright, let's jump right into this. We start off with an ARPG game that has been making positive waves in the community, and of course that is Last Epoch, my personal #1 game right now. Now, the news that dropped is an update on the road to 1.0. Now, I was personally really surprised when they dropped this communication, because right now this game is only in early access phase 2. So I always thought that this game was really far out from 1.0, but I guess not everybody felt that way. In this communication, it talks about the development of the game, how they started it in mid-2017 and how it's progressed so great. Talk about how they love the community and they continue to want feedback. But ultimately, the news is that Last Epoch will not be leaving early access in 2020, which again is not really a surprise, but this game has been developing nicely and it is a whole lot of fun. They also talked about how there was rumors that initially said that potentially the game would be cheaper when it fully drops 1.0, and that is not the case. It looks like it's going to be a one-time fee of $35 to get the game when it officially drops. So there's really no reason to wait anymore to get Last Epoch. You can buy it now in early access, or you can buy it at 1.1. It's going to be the exact same price. So if you're looking for a new ARPG, you might as well just grab it now. Now, moving on, there was one other piece of information that Last Epoch dropped. This was a day ago, and it's Last Epoch Community Tester Program. So basically what they're going to be doing is reaching out to testers to check out the patch before it fully drops, and it's through a nomination process. While this is likely to change in the future, at present time, we aren't accepting nominations. The first wave of invites was sent yesterday. I did not get one. Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at you, 11th Hour Games. All invitations to join the community tester program are sent from this email, but hopefully I get nominated in the future because I do love this game and I actually do really enjoy the people over at 11th Hour Games, but that's what they're doing right now with their community tester program. Moving over to Larian Studios with, of course, Baldurs Gate 3. Now, I have covered everything Baldurs Gate 3 that has come out since this game dropped, including the initial rumors before this game dropped, and we are now less than a month away before we get our hands on early access. But unfortunately, Larian Studios is taking some heat right now and was forced to explain itself because they dropped that the early access cost for this game will be $60. That's pretty expensive. $60. And obviously, when you're looking at early access, these are normally your most loyal of fans, people that have been following you, can't wait to get their hands on the game, and it feels a little bit like price gouging. Now, when they dropped Divinity Original Sin 2, that game cost $45 to get into their early access, so they have upped it $15. Now, what Larian has explained to the community is that this game is much larger than Divinity Original Sin 2. You're going to get over 25 hours of playable content for their first act. You will be able to hit level 20 through the early access. So you're almost going to be getting like a large scale game for that 60, and then of course you'll have the game for when it drops because that is going to be the cost of it. So, you know, good, bad, I don't know how you feel about it. This game has been in development for a long time and they have spent a lot of money on it, so maybe they want to start cashing in on that investment of the game. But a $60 early access is for sure steep, and most game manufacturers do not do that for early access. So we'll see how it pays off. We'll take a look at how many people purchase it when it drops in the end of September. Larian Studios, Hope you made the right decision. Moving over to the team over at Artificial Core, and the game I'm talking about, of course, is Corepunk. Now, the other day I made a full video breakdown of their quarter 2 updates, and I will link that video at the end of this video. But to just give you a snapshot, they basically talked about communication and how they want more conversations and less reading, where they want it to feel more real. They give you an update on how communication is going to be like. They give you an introduction to the coordinator, who is going to be your Cortana, who basically helps you and guides you throughout the world, and they don't really know how that's going to develop yet. They have introduced jumps into the game, so you will now be able to jump, and normally in, this game really isn't hack and slash, but an isometric game, you don't have really jumping unless it's skill, where in this game you will have jumping. They talk about customization and what you're going to be able to do with your character. They talked about fatalities. So depending on what type of element or what weapon you're using when you kill somebody, it's not going to be like a Mortal Kombat fatality, but the example is if you hit someone with a fire spell, there's a chance that they'll like burst into like ashes, or if you hit somebody with a two-handed sword, you might cut off their head. So Corepunk will have fatalities in it, which is pretty cool. They talk about the heroes that they are currently working on. Again, this is a pretty big quarterly update, so check out the video at the end of this video. Right now they're working on the Champion, Dwarf, Bomber, Paladin, Orc, and Demon, and I will be playing Paladin. And then the CBT update. So the goal for Corepunk, where you will be able to play it, CBT, they're shooting for December 2020. So hopefully this year. But that is the content update for this game. It seems like the game is really coming along nicely. And then at the end of this update, they dropped a 6-minute behind the scenes video, which again is pretty nice, kind of helps you get to know the developers a little bit. We are now moving on to arguably the best ARPG of the decade, and that is of course Path of Exile. So this week dropped its Heist League reveal trailer for us. Now I already made an entire independent video on the Heist League, and I will link that at the end of this video. But it looks like we are 12 days away from getting our hands on this league. Now, what I will say is that this league is like nothing we've ever seen before. The video that I made talks about how they got their inspiration for this league from Ocean's 11. That's right, they were flipping through Netflix, came across Ocean's 11, and then decided to make a league around basically stealing. You'll go to the harbor, you will hire what mercenaries you want, you'll be sitting around a huge table with a big map, and you will plan out how you are going to get that loot without tripping the alarm. Heist League looks a whole lot of fun. Again, 12 days away, and I will link that video at the end of this video if you want to check out the entire breakdown for this next league coming to Path of Exile. Now let's talk about some Diablo 4. Game Rant recently dropped an article predicting what will be the 5 playable classes for this game. And I gotta say, I think they're pretty spot on. None of this stuff is etched in stone, so we're not 100% sure, but I did want to add this into this week's weekly news recap. Now, we already know 3 of the playable classes. There's gonna be a Barbarian, there's gonna be a Sorceress, and there's gonna be a Druid. So that is already done. We know that it is 100%. By the way, I'm super excited that they are dropping a Druid right at the beginning because people were very upset that we never got a Druid class for Diablo 3. But then people were very upset a lot about Diablo 3. Now what Game Rant is predicting, the other 2 playable classes that will drop when this game comes out, one will be a ranged damage dealer, basically a rogue class. Every Diablo game has had some kind of like bow or assassin style character, so I'm pretty sure that that class will get dropped as the 4th or 5th class. And then the 5th class that they are saying is going to drop is some kind of summoner or cleric. So in the original, or in Diablo 2, obviously you had the Necromancer, which was my personal favorite character in that game, even though everybody helped me because I always lagged down the games and I would normally get booted. but it was fun doing cow levels and things like that. And then when Diablo 3 dropped, they obviously had the Witch Doctor, and then later when they dropped their final expansion, they had the Necromancer. So right now, Game Rant is predicting Barbarian, Sorceress, Druid, Rogue, Necromancer, or some kind of Cleric. Potentially the 5 playable classes coming to Diablo 4. Rounding out our game news before we move over to tech is the mobile MMO getting dropped, Warhammer Odyssey. Now, I know a vast amount of people in the gaming community really despise mobile games in particularly, but this is a good time for me to plug my Discord server. So right now we have over 310 members, great conversations every day. The idea is to have a gaming community that could jump from game to game together so you never start the server alone. And we do, majority of the time, talk about ARPGs, especially right now, last Epoch, but we plan on trying a mobile game together as a community. And that game that we have selected is Warhammer Odyssey, and they just recently dropped the Meet the Engineer kind of information pamphlet about everything about this character. They have now done this for every single character except for the Archmage. Once they do that, I will be able to make a video on all the playable classes for this mobile MMO. But if anybody is planning on playing this game and looking for a gaming community that will support you and plans on playing together, please join my Discord. The link is in the description below. It really is a fun, positive gaming community. And for a mobile MMO, right now this game does look really good. I did have somebody on my Discord that got invited to the closed beta. Unfortunately, he had to sign an non-disclosure agreement, so right now he's not sharing how it's going, other than it's a whole lot of fun. So again, Warhammer Odyssey, if you're looking for a gaming community, join my Discord. And they just recently dropped the Meet the Engineer. I will link this in the description below because I really don't want to read through all this, and it's pretty boring. Last and certainly not least, we're going to be talking about tech and how NVIDIA dropped its specs, official specifications for its 3 new GPUs coming to the market. And the internet did not disappoint with all the memes and videos. It really is hilarious because what NVIDIA is claiming right now, specs to price, I mean, there is so many people pissed off. Okay, let me explain. The first GPU that they mentioned, and this should be available around October, is the GeForce RTX 3070. Okay, now the 3070 is going to be their current entry-level performance GPU, and it's going to cost you $499. Okay, so why is the internet so mad? Because for that $499 price, it is faster. It's faster than a 2080 Ti. Right now, a 2080 Ti brand new is $1,200, which means last month, if you pulled the trigger and got yourself the best video card you can get on the market, it is literally going to be obsolete by October, and it's half the price, more than half the price, $499. I wish I could show you some of the videos that were made. It's pretty funny. As we go down, the 3080, and this will be available September 17th, the 3080 RTX will be twice as fast as a 2080. Twice as fast. And again, it'll come in at at the same price that the 2080 originally dropped at. And then the new flagship will be the RTX 3090, and I'm sure later on we will get the 3090 Ti, but this will be available through partner program September 24th, and this will kind of take over what the Titan series used to be for GPUs. So 3090, 3080, 3070, really interesting how they are doing the reference model cooling. It's going to be, it goes in one way and then exhaust out, so the fans are going to be on opposite sides. I think it's a good idea, and I think the cards look pretty good. Now, I did want to mention, because everybody always talks Team Green, you always hear Intel, but not as much Team Red. That is something that I wanted to bring up to you. Now, AMD, based upon the launch of these new 330 series cards, are going to be dropping the price of their big Navi cards that are coming out before they're even dropped. Now, again, we have to wait for tests to see what's what, but AMD's new big Navi card is supposed to be dropping with 16 gigs for $599, and it is now rumored that it's going to be $550. And they are saying that this big new red Navi Radeon video card will compete with the 3070, and it'll be cheaper than the 3080. But it should be in between that 3070, 3080, and then of course at the top, like normal, you have to stick with NVIDIA with that 3090. So I am really curious to see what the performance is like, because normally AMD, it's not outperforming Team Green, but you normally get a great value from a price perspective. They just get a bad rap because they always have driver problems, which, you know, drives people crazy. So I totally understand that. But ultimately, it looks like the end of this year and next year we're in for some really, really cool tech options as far as upgrading your PC. And by the way, if you go on eBay right now, you can get yourself a 2080 Ti for right around $500. They are like, old video cards are swarming the internet right now because they know that you can get a 3080 for $700, which is going to be double the performance of a 2080. So if they can get their money back or at least recoup something, they're going to do that now. So if you're looking for a used video card, good time to get it if you can get something cheap. If I can find a 2080 Ti for $300-400, I will pull that trigger right now. All right, everybody, that's the video. What do you think of this week's news wrap-up? Is there some big story that I potentially missed? Let me know in the comment section below. If you have not joined the official Action RPG Discord, please do so. Again, over 310 members, great conversations every day. The link is in the description below. That's it. Stay home, stay safe. Do not forget to join the official Action RPG Discord. Aaron, out.